A changed life in Timor Leste, global mission pioneers in China, and our last videos in the Mission on the Move series, coming up on this week's Mission 360. Hello and welcome to Mission 360, coming to you today from the beautiful, the bustling, the highly populated city of Shanghai, China. The latest estimates are that 24 million people live in this city. 24 million. That's more than the population of the entire country of Australia, where I come from. And it makes it the #1 city in all of China, and probably the most populated city in the entire world. This is a city of wonderful contrasts, and we'll visit it today, seeing some of its beauty. And we'll also talk to some global mission pioneers who are working in this region of the world. But first up, let's continue our Mission on the Move series as we look at the history of the Seventh Day Adventist movement.
Between 1950 and the 1990s, several monumental world events took place. Not the least among them is you. Yes, the majority of you right here were probably born during the auspicious epoch known as the latter half of the 20th century. You lived through some low points and some high points. So has the earth. So has the church. You may remember when Pathfinders became a globally recognized church ministry. It was the same year that the Korean War began in 1950, and it was just a year later, 1951, when Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay summited Mount Everest. Stunning feats of human endurance for New Zealand and Nepal. And the same year, the U.S. rolled out color television. In '55, the Vietnam War began, and a year later, 1956, the first Adventist church was established in Cyprus. Later, Dr. Roy S. Cornell opened a hospital in Benghazi, Libya. It Is Written became the first Christian TV program to be broadcast in color, and the General Conference voted for a 6-week cross-cultural missionary training program. This would become the Institute of World Missions. While the Russians were busy launching Sputnik, 1957, Malta got its first literature evangelists. Then, in 1958, the Maltese government granted a 3-month annual book-selling campaign. As Hawaii and Alaska joined the United States and Castro took over Cuba, an Adventist evangelistic center opened in Beirut. They've done everything there, from Bible correspondence classes to running a physical therapy clinic. Remember the Benghazi, Libya hospital? The same year Alan Shepard became the first American in space, 17 of the hospital staff organized a church. The following year, the Berlin Wall went up. Later, when Benghazi Hospital was nationalized, nearly all Adventists would depart Libya. Pastor Joe Cruz started a radio program in 1965 where he would open every show with an amazing fact. He creatively named the broadcast Amazing Facts and followed up each nugget of trivia with a simple biblical lesson. Throughout the 1960s, religious restrictions were relaxed in Kazakhstan. Perhaps Kazakhstan, like a lot of the world, was beginning to care less about religion in general. Whatever the case, Adventists were able to form new congregations, construct church buildings, and hold public worship. While Apollo 11 astronauts strolled across the moon, the Adventist Youth World Congress met in Zurich, Switzerland. The same year, John Freeman founded Maranatha Flights International in an effort to organize short-term mission trips to lay people. 20 years later, they'd merge with Volunteers International to become Maranatha Volunteers International. In 1971, the artist Jasper Johns would be credited with starting postmodernism in art. Adventist Health Systems broke ground 2 years later and would become one of the most robust hospital systems in the U.S. In 1979, despite having no faculty or campus of their own, the Latin American Theological Seminary was established in Brazil, offering degrees throughout South America. Mark and Annie Scalzi, along with their 2 kids, became the first missionary family to operate under the newly incorporated Adventist Frontier Missions. They planted a church in the Philippines. It has written made history with the most massive satellite TV evangelistic series of all time. Net 95, 96, and 98 won an estimated 25 to 30,000 new converts. The once closed country of Mongolia established its first SDA church less than 20 years ago. And despite the recent decline, 1999 saw the worldwide enrollment in Adventist schools surpass 1 million students. From the 50s up through the turn of the millennium, the global Seventh Day Adventist Church said yes. We said yes to bold ideas, yes to innovative tools, yes to passionate ministries that grew our church all over the planet. We are not referring to growth in the thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands. We are a church in the millions. 232 countries with 78,810 churches and 18,479,257 members. We are like sands of the desert, the stars of the night sky. We are an ocean. So where does that leave you?
We appreciate that the Chinese government enshrines religious freedom in the Constitution, but to make sure there's no misunderstandings at the local level, we are obscuring the identity of these global mission pioneers. But I'm privileged to be able to talk to you today, and I'm very interested, how did you both become Seventh-day Adventists?
I believe in Jesus because of my sister's testimony. She asked me, "Do you believe there is a God?" I answered that I did. Then she took me to her church. The members were very happy to meet me when I arrived, and I felt loved. Many times, church elders came to visit me and prayed with me. I experienced God's love, and I attended church regularly to have Bible studies and later to participate in divine worship. And in 2016, I got baptized.
Two ladies shared the gospel message with me at my workplace. In the beginning, I hesitated to believe in Jesus. However, when I heard an elder praying for me, I was so touched by his words that I began to seek God. I looked for him, and I am deeply convicted that God is trustworthy and reliable. I was then baptized 1 year later.
Oh, thank you. And what difference did it make to your lives becoming Adventists?
信主以后，因为信主之前，我的性情会比较。
I had a bad temper before I accepted God. But still, as I learned more through the Bible, I discovered He is a God full of love and extreme kindness. When I compared myself with Him, I understood my weaknesses. I became enlightened by studying the Bible. I witnessed His love, tolerance, and forgiveness. Because of this, I began to pray to God that He will help me to become a loving person who will forgive others. I tried to forgive people in my workplace, people who hurt me in my past. I'm so thankful that God helps me to learn the way of forgiveness and to transform my life so much, including my diet. I am aware of what is clean and what is unclean food now, and I feel healthier when I quit eating unclean food.
离弃了这些不洁净的饮食，然后身心灵就走向了一个健康的状态。
Originally, I was bad-tempered too and always had quarrels with my family and husband. But since I accepted God, I remind myself why I quarreled with my family and I exercise forgiveness that is taught in the Bible. I read the passage about forgiving 77 times. I was moved by it and I wondered why I cannot forgive my husband. He does not believe in Christ yet, but I must pray for him. Because of my behavior change, my husband does not fight with me either. When I asked him why, he says he is happy with the changes he sees now. I continue to study the Bible and to find answers in it. Our relationship at home is better than before.
Thank you very much. And what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of the ministry you're involved in?
感谢上帝，后来开始服侍教会的弟兄姐妹的时候，
Thank God, as I begin to serve my church, I understand the truth of God and I feel a sense of freedom. I am so happy for this. I help distressed people by quoting words from the Bible. I also share God's words with brothers and sisters regularly during Bible studies. When they understand the messages, they suddenly lighten up and find strength for themselves. This comforts them whenever they are distressed. They feel free from their problems. I feel so happy to see this happening.
心里面有纠结的，他们从上帝那里得了释放。我看到他们的那种释放，我自己的内心也非常的快乐，是这样。
Since I accepted Jesus, I serve the Adventist Church. I go to an unreached place to plant a new church for His honor. Now there is a house church in a village that is far away from the city. When I came here, I was touched by the members' great passion. When new guests arrive at the church, we treat them as precious gifts and act kindly to them. This is my happiest moment. I often welcome and care for them with enthusiasm. When new people come to my house church, they will stay there and I care for them. What I get from it? It's joy. I am very happy when newcomers arrive.
Thank you very much. Can you share with me a short story of how the life of somebody you've been working with has been changed?
因着我自己信靠了上帝，然后又在做教会。
As I trust God and serve my church, friends around me see my cheerful face and they also want to change themselves. For example, some changed their diet. They agreed with me that my lifestyle is healthier. My family members often quarreled with each other, but now they are more harmonious after I shared God's word to help them. When brothers and sisters understand God's messages, they start to forgive people and there is no more quarreling. In other words, I believe my transformation is a powerful testimony. People also encourage me because of their improvement. It brings me lots of happiness.
他们也在我的生活当中也扶持着我，他们的改变也带给我很多的快乐。
As I accepted God, I knew He had a work for me. I need to improve people's health through lifestyle transformation. When I compare myself with non-believers, I see that my health is improving after I changed my diet. As people see my health, they want to know more about this God who changed me. When we share health messages and knowledge with others, they are willing to accept it. So, through the health message, we continue to share the gospel with people, and this persuades them to become better.
Wonderful, 谢谢. Viewers at home, what a privilege it is for me to be able to talk to these Christian workers here in China and what a difference they are making. Please pray for them. Pray for pioneers working all around the world so that they know that there are people who care for them. Welcome back to Shanghai and the Pudong region behind me. Next up, we go to Los Palos in Timor Leste, and Pastor Doug Venn hears a wonderful story of someone who came to faith in Jesus Christ.
Thanks, Gary. Right now, I'm here in Los Palos, Timor Leste, which is on the east side of the island. And here I am in this downtown of Los Palos with my good friend, Zailindo Lai. And God has worked in his life in powerful ways. And Brother Zailindo, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to find out, God has done some amazing things in your life. Can you take us back in time in 2010 of how God was working in your life?
Okay, well, this is the long story, but we're going to make it short. Back in 2010, my life was so really bad. You know, like I said before, 10 commandments, I think only one I didn't commit is murder. So I didn't commit, but the rest I did in my life. One day, there's a big raining and thunderstorm in Timor, in Delhi. And on that time, after the raining stopped, I can see the sun's come out from the cloud. And I looked up and I saw this beautiful cloud that I've never seen in my life before. It's so colorful. And I called my friend. I said, look at that, the clouds, so beautiful, but they didn't see anything. So I decided just want to walk into my factory that I work to. So I look back up again, and I saw still beautiful cloud. And then I said, nah, I have to go to work. But something told me I had to take the picture. So I used my camera and then my mobile phone camera, so I took the picture. And then I went home, I looked at it, but I looked at beautiful cloud, but I didn't see anything at all. And then on that time, I couldn't sleep at all because something kept bothering me on that night. Say, look back again, the picture you have taken before. So I decided to take the picture and then look at it again. I saw something's in there. I couldn't describe who is this, but I saw a beautiful eyes in that picture. So one day, and I look at it again, I saw there's a bee sign. There's a bee in the cloud, look like a bee for banana, bee words. So I keep, every day after I saw that, I keep thinking, what do I mean by that, you know? So one day I'm thinking, bee could be mean by Bible or Biblia. So one day I ring my sister-in-law, live in Surabaya, my brother's wife, and I say, please sister-in-law, can you send me a Bible? Can you buy me a Bible and send it to me? And she said, okay. So she sent the Bible, and then I started read the Bible. I read the Bible. I didn't understand at all, but I found the things that interesting in that Bible is that about drinking, alcohol is not good for our health because your body is the temple of God. So you should not destroy your body because if you destroy your body, God will destroy you. So I read that. I started stop drinking on 2010. I don't drink any more alcohol, and then I quit smoking. And then in 2012, and I found about pork meat, things like that. And then I started quit the pork meat. I don't eat in 2012. And then me and my wife, we moved to live in Los Palos from Dili to here. We started with a little business, small business, and then the business just keep grow a little bit, and then at the end, I started with Thomas. He came and sell me the book, The End of the World. So in that book, when I started, I found a lot of things that really hurting my heart. And then about the Sabbath day. Right. So one day, I keep studying with Thomas. I say, is it true God's day is a Sabbath day, not a Sunday? And then Thomas said, according to the Bible, it is Sabbath day. It's a Saturday. It's not a Sunday. But I still don't believe it. I went back home. I keep studying. One day, my heart is so joyful. Something telling me that the Sabbath day is the Lord's day. So at the end, I decided to go to church on Saturday. I don't go on Sunday. But one day, something's not happy in my heart. Like, even you do the Sabbath on Saturday, but you're still in the wrong church. So one day I decided, nah, what should I do? So at the end I decided, nah, I think I have to come to the church with the real church, the church that actually they rest on Saturday. So I decided to come to a 7 Day Adventist church, and for the first time. For once in my life, I never feel that happy in my life. When I walked in that door, in that church, I feel so joyful, like it's amazing. So I decided in my life that I want to be baptized. So I messaged Thomas and Pastor Wesley. I said, please, I want to be baptized.
Zylindo, thank you for sharing that story of how God has transformed your family. But we are right now in Los Palos, downtown, standing in front of this building. What is your dream for this building right now? Some people may want to tear it down, but I know God has placed in your heart that this could be something more that can impact this community using Christ's method alone. So what's your vision?
My vision is that I can provide a job for more people that want to know the truth about God. Because most of the members from the church, that actually they've been sacked by the company.
Well, what do you see here to help the community?
What I see here that if I can open a shop that actually can sell food that actually a healthy food,
okay.
You know, even I can run a gym,
right?
So I can coaching people about how to have a healthy life.
Right.
So this is what I'll try to do.
That's great. That's great. And that follows what we see following Christ's method alone, of mingling with people, of sympathizing with them, of meeting needs, winning trust, and then following, inviting them to follow Jesus as disciples. So Zailindo, what an awesome dream. Gary, I want to say thank you so much to Zailindo here in Los Palos on how God has transformed his life. And with that grace, now he's wanting to share that with others and with this center of influence. So thanks so much.
Well, it's been an interesting and fascinating journey through time as we've looked at the history of the Seventh Day Adventist movement. And in a sense, that history is coming to an end with our next video clip as we watch the last video in the Mission on the Move series. But let's not let that be the end. Let's continue writing the script through our lives as we look for ways that we can be involved in the Advent movement to tell the good news about Jesus Christ.
The biggest cities in the world have a population over 1 million. Nearly half of those cities fall within the 1040 window. 60% of Earth's humanity lives inside a rectangle between the latitude lines of 10 and 40 degrees. Out of the 3.4 billion people in the 1040 window, 1% know Jesus. Less than 1/1000% are Seventh-day Adventist. In the middle of the East-North Africa region, there's one Adventist for every 65,000 people. There is one country that was evangelized as early as the 16th century. Portuguese Catholics converted huge numbers of indigenous people. But then, the natives grew weary of Portugal's growing power, their intolerance for other belief systems, and their involvement in the slave trade. Today, roughly 1% in the country's populace remains Christian, making it one of the least evangelized nations on the planet. Some suggest that consumerism and individualism are to blame. Others claim that this nation's postmodern worldview is simply at odds with Christianity. The postmodern worldview says truth is relative. A Christian who declares one God, one truth, and one way to heaven looks like a fool here. Does this description sound familiar? The statistics are for Japan, but the explanation could be true for numerous countries like Turkey, Netherlands, Sweden. And the 1040 window isn't the only place with bleak statistics. There is another country where only 7.5% of adults attend church. Over the past 20 years, church closures have risen to 6 per week. England has been called the most godless country in all of Europe. In the United States, the numbers of people who self-identify as Christians has dropped 1% every year for the last 8 years. While about 70% claim Christianity, only 37% report going to church. Meanwhile, non-Christian religions are on the rise. Additionally, from 1990 to the present, the number of Americans who call themselves atheist, agnostic, or of no religious affiliation soared from 8% to almost a quarter of the nation, 16.1% around the 2007 midpoint. In the first century church, the Apostle Paul acted as a missionary to the Gentiles. A map of his travels proves that while undoubtedly very slow, Paul covered a lot of territory throughout the Mediterranean. While Italy and Greece carry lasting Christian legacies, Paul's work was geographically centered just a bit further east. 100 years ago, 20% of Turkey's population was Christian. Today, the 20% of Christians in Turkey have been reduced to 0.2%. Paul had the disadvantage of traveling entirely by boat or on foot. We have no such excuse. At the end of 2013, there were only 109 registered members in Turkey's 2 Adventist churches. The population of Turkey is approximately 75 million, even in countries where we are the strongest. Where we brag that 1 in 10 people in that country are Adventist, that is not success. That means that 90% of the people in that country have not been reached with the 3 angels' message. Perhaps it's time to examine this challenge from a new angle. You, the living, breathing body of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, have in your DNA a rich heritage. You have adapted, you have adjusted, you have carried the mission. But our world is changing, and the majority of the world's population has poured out of rural regions into urban centers. This has created megacities with populations in the millions, and it's changed the DNA of how we fulfill our mission. Our traditional methods to reach the masses have lost efficacy. Like our pioneers, it's time that we adapt. We are not called to change our message, but our method. Ironically, the new angle we need may be a very old truth. It's not about countries, it's about people. Evangelism can be the natural byproduct of a loving relationship between two people. And authentic person-to-person missions can happen anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're called to the 1040 window or the door of your parents' house. Even business people and social media marketers know that the most trusted form of advertisement is word of mouth. People listen to those with whom they have a relationship. So we must build relationships and community with those outside our borders and beliefs, whether those are people of other faiths or no faith, or our very own children. We, the church, can apply this old truth in a new way. Each of the world's divisions has built aggressive strategies. Strategies like Life Hope Centers, Centers of Influence, comprehensive health initiatives, and small groups. With God's help, we can and will reach the masses in these large urban centers.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Mission 360, and I hope that you've been challenged and inspired by what you've seen and heard. Challenged because there are still huge mission challenges remaining, and inspired because God is in control and He has a plan for this world, and we've been invited to be part of that wonderful plan. I encourage you to continue to pray for mission work around the world. Pray for global mission pioneers planting new congregations. Pray for missionaries. And thank you so much for your continuing financial support that does make a tremendous difference. And I want to encourage you, if you want to learn more about mission, go to mission360.org, or you can read our Mission 360 magazine, which is full of stories like you see on Mission 360 TV programs. You can watch it on your computer, on the internet. Just go to adventistmission.org. You can download it and you can read it on your digital device, or you can get a hard copy, and I'd like to send you a complimentary copy today of Mission 360 magazine. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.